Porter or Spence, because man, I remember
Porter
you.
Spence.
You sparred Shawn years ago.
Yeah, I did plenty of rounds with Shawn. I think that fight is going to be competitive in the beginning. Shawn Porter's going to go in there and try to make it ugly as usual. Everyone knows that. I think Errol's going to take a little bit of leading to adjust, and then he's just going to eventually take over the fight. I don't see it being no knockout or anything like that. Not even no knockdowns.
You personally had given advice to Porter on his fight with Spence.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing the show there, and so he asked me, hey, being that you fought Spence, what kind of advice would you give me? I told him, look, I mean, it's no secret, he's a great fighter. He's a southpaw, great fighter. He can box, he can manage the distance as well, use the height and reach. I felt you fight a lot better when you put pressure and you use combinations, work the body, get on the inside. So I don't think it's any secret that you should try that. If you stay on the outside and try to box, I really don't think that's your shot at Errol Spence. I think your best shot is to get on the inside. It's gonna cost you to work your way in there probably, but that's the best shot you got. So just work on the inside, work the body, and then just stay on top of him as much as you can. Keep him against the ropes if you can. Keep him, stay, on his chest there. And that's probably the best thing I could tell you. He said, "Oh, thank you, I appreciate it." And I think that's what everybody kind of suggests. I don't think any expert analyst could say Shawn should try to box. I just don't see anybody thinking that. I think his best bet is you work on the inside, get close, get on the inside, using a lot of combinations, using a lot of volume punches.
Now, you were Spence's opponent, right? So who do you think actually, do you believe that Porter could take Spence?
He could. If he stays on the inside like that, he could definitely keep winning rounds like that. I don't think he's got the power to hurt Spence, but he has the volume and the aggression to make it uncomfortable and make it.
So you think he does still have
effective.
the potential?
He does have potential to do it. Is it gonna be an easy fight? No, it's not. No, it's not. But if he fights like that, it's also not gonna be an easy night for Spence. Spence is gonna have to work.
The Errol Spence Shawn Porter fight is a huge fight, unification.
Yeah.
This is where as the fans get the best fighting the best.
Yep.
Now, do you have a winner? And if not, do you have a breakdown, at least how you see the fight's gonna play out?
See, I've said this to a couple different people who have asked me. I feel like it depends so much because they've both thrown us curveballs in their fights. Like Shawn Porter came out against Ugas and he was moving and he was boxing. I highly doubt that's what he does against Spence, but at the same time, you never know. And then Errol Spence came out against Mikey Garcia, where you thought he was just going to go in there and just plow him over, being that he was the bigger man. And he chose to sit on his back foot and jab and box him a little bit more and just kind of completely shut him down, So with that being said, both guys have given us so many different looks of, the way that they can fight. So it's so hard for me to give a breakdown for this particular fight, and usually I love to give breakdowns, but it's hard for me to give one because it's like there's so many different ways it can play out depending on how they come out and they fight, I will say I'm looking forward to seeing how Errol Spence, a fighter at his caliber, goes about dealing with a fighter of Shawn Porter's caliber, because Shawn Porter is a very unique fighter. He makes everybody look ugly, he makes everybody look bad, and if Errol Spence can go out there and not let Shawn Porter make him look bad, that's going to be a big feather in his cap, because it's like this guy's roughed up so many different people, and he goes in there, if he doesn't rough up Errol Spence and Errol Spence is able to look clean in this fight and look sharp and win handily, that's a huge thing for him. And likewise, because nobody's been able to go out there and give Errol Spence really any trouble at all. So if Shawn Porter can go in there and beat Errol Spence, that's huge for him. All of a sudden, he's the best welterweight, And, it comes down to him and Terrence Crawford after that.
Now, before I follow up on that, is it strange to think that this fight could even be a boxing match? I know you broke down they have those capabilities, but do you feel like there's a natural urge in your stomach thinking this is really going to be a dog fight and they're really just going to have a grueling match?
That's one thing I didn't mention. See, I feel like, and then if we get both of them come out fighting how that we've seen them fight in the past, like we see Errol Spence come out just not take one back step and just break fighters down. You see Shawn Porter come in and just bulldoze people. If those two trains collide and they both fight like that, we got the fight of the year, no doubt in my mind. And that's why I can't wait for this fight. I think it's just going to be like, man, just a technical, like a styles matchup that can't miss.
Man, what's your Spence Porter breakdown and prediction?
Man, that's going to be a tough fight for both guys. A lot of people leaning towards Spence. I understand why. It's going to be a tough fight, you know. Not going to say it's a 50-50 fight. I'll probably say it's a 60-40 fight in favor of Spence. But Shawn Porter can have a night, any night. Any given night, he can have a night. So it's not a fight where, you know, you can point to a winner without having doubts in your mind. If this guy does this, maybe it can change things. So again, I'm gonna sit back and watch that as a fan. I'm not trying to choose either way. I love both guys. I'm friends with both guys. I'm a fan of both guys. So I'm gonna sit back and watch it, man. It's gonna be a good fight and a tough fight.
Has Spence proved enough to you to be considered kind of one of the best in the game right now?
Yeah, he's one of the best, yeah, for sure.
Spence versus Shawn Porter.
That's a good fight for them.
Who wins?
You know what I mean? Unified them titles. I had to go with Spence on that.
How?
Because Porter just attacked me on some wild shit. I mean, if he's going to pity pat, he's probably going to pity pat like Dick Mikey. Use him from the distance outside, work him.
Do you have a breakdown prediction by any chance?
I'm cool with Shawn Porter. I'm cool with his dad. You have a brawler and a great boxer. I'm neutral.
Barn burner?
Neutral. Huh?
Is it going to be a barn burner?
I think it's going to be a great fight. I think it's going to be an amazing fight. I'm not picking a winner. I'm neutral. Two brothers are going to go at it. But I will say this. Errol Spence hit me up. Shawn Porter did not. You know what I mean? So, best man win though.
You sparred Shawn Porter. Mm-hmm. Did you ever get to see Errol up close or anything around those times?
Nah, actually, to be honest, I never even seen Errol. Like, I never had a conversation with Errol Spence. I seen him walk past and stuff like that, but I never actually had a conversation with him. Never seen him train or nothing like that. But I would have loved to.
How would, from what you know from Shawn Porter, like, you know, Errol's fought Kell Brook, Errol's fought Mikey Garcia, but now he's fighting Shawn Porter. Is this going to be his toughest fight up to date, just from what you know?
I think so, from style matchup wise. You know, Shawn Porter is a rough, rugged fighter. He's going to make the fight rough for Errol. He's not just about to fall down. He's a rough fighter. So this is going to be a tough fight. But you just never know, man. I get an edge to Errol, but I hope my Cleveland people, you know, Ohio, Team Ohio, I hope we pull it out.
I understand you guys Spence winning because you feel he can do a lot more. How would Porter beat him? If you're training him, what tactic do you need to beat him?
Porter's kind of showing you some of that lately. His last fight with Prograis, that he's switching up a little bit. He's not just bringing that bull in the China shop stuff anymore. You know, he's trying to box, he's trying to be cute, he's trying to use his legs, he's trying to do a little Jersey Joe Walcott. You know, with his legs and doing all that. You know, he's trying to, hoping that to help him with the judges and maybe, you know, give him an angle, give him a little confusion in there to the opponent. But so I mean, by him changing, he's telling me something. You know, fighters' language is different than normal people's language. They don't have to say a word. Their actions tell you a million sentences. Right. And his actions, and I used to say that when I was broadcasting the fight for ESPN, he said, you don't need to hear this guy spouting words right now at a press conference. He's telling you that body shot hurt him. He's coming out this round, and all of a sudden he's on a bicycle. He wasn't on a bicycle before. Right, he just told you something. Yeah. He's screaming.
All those things take effect. Okay.
With no noise, he's screaming.
Gotcha.
And so I think that in some ways, Porter was screaming in his last fight. He's telling you the answers already. He's saying, yeah, at this point in my life, at this point in my career, you know what? I'm gonna mix it up.
As a
I'm gonna look for something else. I'm not just gonna bring that pressure game. You know, that pressure game. There's a lot of wear and tear. involved in that pressure game. You know, he's not in this business. This ain't his first year or his second year. You know what I mean? You know, those miles start to accumulate a little bit on that odometer. So I'd have to go with what he believes. I got to go with what the fighter believes. The fighter showed me that he's not sure that he can just bring that all-out attack all night. So I would probably mix it up, to be honest, to give you a good answer. I would mix up a little bit of boxing with a little bit of picking my spots to hold the fort.
Now, from Spence's point of view, I heard Roy Jones say this a couple months ago, that Spence beating Mikey Garcia wasn't that impressive. He hadn't seen Spence really in there with somebody. Should Spence get rid of Porter like you anticipate, would that show you any more of the Spence being ready to be the pound-for-pound guy?
I think Spence is already there.
Okay.
I believe in Spence.
So you disagree with Roy Jones?
I'm not saying I love Roy.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm not saying I disagree. He's got his opinion, I got mine.
Sure, certainly.
And he's very deserving of his opinion because of who he is.
Yeah.
And so I'm just looking at it differently.
Okay.
I'm looking at it that this guy was an Olympian. This guy went to London and beat Kell Brook. This guy has done everything you've asked of him. I believe what I've seen.
I got you.
I don't think it's a mirage.
Okay, I got you.
I believe that when he wants to be relentless, he's relentless. I believe that he's a terrific body puncher. I believe that he's more than just that he's technically sound in a lot of areas, that he can switch it up, that he can be very versatile, he can counter, he can box, he can go get you.
Yeah.
I believe he can do all those things. And I believe that he believes. That's where it comes from for me.
Most important.
That he believes that he's always going to do that.
Okay.
And that's enough for me.
And who do you think will win the Spence Porter fight?
Spence Porter fight, I think Spence has an advantage. Spence has an advantage, but it depends how Porter to prepare for the fight. Porter has also a good chance for Spence. It depends how they prepare. That's my
Shawn Porter, Errol Spence. We know how rugged, how tough Shawn Porter is. Errol Spence is up there, probably top 5 pound for pound. Break it down.
Yeah, it's a good fight. I think it's gonna be an action fight, but I noticed Shawn's a very physical guy when he wants to be. I think he has to be in this fight because I don't think he'll be able to outbox a guy who has an Olympic pedigree like Errol Spence. Because we've seen Shawn try to box in a couple of fights. I think he has to be the old Shawn, where he's very aggressive and very physically demanding. But the only problem in this fight is Errol's also a very big welterweight. So if you try to kind of bulldoze Errol, I don't know that it's going to be as successful either, because Errol is a guy who physically is big and he's going to be tough to manhandle. Also, one thing to keep in mind, the only thing that really backs up Shawn Porter consistently is body shots. He doesn't seem to react well to body shots. Errol is a very, very good body puncher, so I'm curious to see how that comes into play as well.
Who wins? What do you think of that fight? You just saw Errol ringside in Texas. You favor him to beat Shawn?
Look, again, I've known Shawn Porter from the beginning, from his first fight on. Promoted him, and I'm a big Shawn Porter fan. And I'm a big Errol Spence fan as well. And Errol Spence made me, and I think most of the boxing fans, believers after his performance against Mikey Garcia. Look, Mikey Garcia is one of the most talented, one of the best fighters in the world. And the way Errol Spence just dominated him. Yeah. I've never seen a performance like that. So that's why I said right after the press conference in the Cowboy Stadium after the fight, I said at the post-fight press conference, today we crowned the new pound-for-pound best fighter in the world, and his name is Errol Spence. So Errol Spence is a league of his own, and it's a fascinating matchup because of the style. Shawn Porter has a very difficult style. Shawn Porter has a totally different style than any style Errol Spence ever fought. So it's gonna pose a totally new challenge to Spence, and we'll see if he's gonna be able to solve this problem. Because I know Shawn Porter, just like Keith Berman, these are guys who really know how to win.
Does it end in a stoppage, you think, that fight?
Nah. I think it could go to a decision, but you don't know. I mean,
well, that seems like the fight that should move up 2 weeks to September 14th. I mean, they already have it signed, it sounds like, but that would have been good with the Latino undercard.
I'm going to be talking to Al later on and see what his thoughts are, but yeah. Remember, it's the same menus.
Yeah, it's true.
Porter's been boxing a little more in recent fights. Past fights, he's been aggressive. What would be serving better this fight?
I think more on the inside, like is usually like most of his fights were. I think if you're going to try to outbox Spence, or you try to fight him from a distance, I think that will be a more difficult fight than if you try to fight him from the inside. But again, that's easier said than done because of Spence's reach. It's not going to be so easy to get in, and the way Spence moves, and that's what Mikey told me. That was he just couldn't get in. He tried to fight it from the inside, and the skill level from Spence and his reach just didn't allow him to go to the inside. And so we'll see what Porter can do, because the way to beat Spence, in my opinion, is not from the distance.
Between Spence and Porter, do you have a favorite or someone that you're going more towards, leaning towards?
I don't have a favorite, they're both my friends, they're both good guys, and they're both great fighters, and it is a matter of who comes with a better game plan, Porter, he's the, pressure, he's always on top of you, and that's really hard to deal with, when you have a fighter on top of you, throwing punches, pressuring you, it makes you even get tired too, and it doesn't let you throw your punches and stuff, but if Spence is smart, and if he does his boxing how he does, he's really good, he has good power and everything. So he is, it's like the fight is, really even. So it is a matter like who does the game plan better.
What about Porter's next fight with Spence?
Porter and Spence, I think that's a good fight. I just feel like Spence is a stronger fighter, and I think with the youth behind him, I think Porter's been in a lot of wars. I just feel like Spence will kind of walk through this fight quite easily. I think he'll get I don't think he'll stop him. I think he'll go the distance, but he'll win unanimously.
Shawn Porter putting his WBC title on the line against IBF champion Errol Spence Jr. in a unification clash. How do you see that fight playing out?
I think Spence beats him. I think he's a good fighter, Porter, but he's a little bit rude and crude at times. He's Spence is a quality operator, and he must have height and reach on him. And I ain't seen him head to head, but Spence is a great fighter. I think he beats Porter.
Errol Spence Jr. versus Shawn Porter, another fight in the welterweight division. Talk to me about that fight.
Although Errol Spence is a very, very solid, technical, fundamental boxer, he still has a lot of physicalities, but so does Shawn Porter, so that's an interesting one. I think that Spence, for me, will have to be, his legs will have to be very engaged, he'll have to be very good at adjusting distance and with his timing. I think he'll have to use his, he'll have to be able to maintain distance with Porter, give himself time and space to watch Porter, as Porter likes to sort of not rush in, but he likes to close that gap quickly. So I think the more space that Spence can give himself to time that, will give himself a good option, a good opportunity. But that's an interesting fight as well, because like I said, they're both physical fighters, so that is an interesting one.
Right. Spence versus Porter will answer any questions you got about Spence, because I haven't seen Spence in a big fight yet. Spence looks wonderful to me. I'm not gonna lie, he looks good. And I heard about his sparring session with Mayweather and all that, and that's all sounds good, but under the lights is different. You understand me? So I need to see you work under the lights against a guy like a Shawn Porter. Now I can evaluate how you look under the lights and say what I think about if you fight Terrence Crawford. Right now, I know what Terrence Crawford is. I don't know what Spence is. You understand me? Not a knock on neither one of them, but Crawford been around long. Crawford have been in the ring with the Gamboas of the world, the Ray Beltrans of the world, Blaster. So I know what he does with top-notch competition. But I ain't seen Spence really. Mikey Garcia is top-notch, but he's 2 weight classes lighter. So I can't judge you off of Mikey Garcia. I got to see you against another welterweight. Shawn Porter, I can make some judgments off.
What's your call
once again, this is not a knock on nobody.
No, not
just that I have not seen him yet.
feel me? When I see him against a good top-notch fighter, now I can make my judgment better because now I know what he is, what he does under the lights. You understand me? Now I can make my decision, or at least I can give you my analysis of it.
So back on Pacquiao and Thurman.
What's your
analysis on Porter versus Spence?
I don't know. Like I said, it's going to answer a lot of questions for me because this will be the first real fight I seen Porter in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He done beat guys that had names, but those guys, like I said, Garcia was like coming up. Garcia asked for that, so he did what he's supposed to do. You understand me? The guy over in England, they got title from him, had his orbital ball broken by Triple G, so I ain't gonna really judge him off of that either. I gotta see against a guy that ain't nothing wrong with him. And they saying Shawn Porter older, but man, come on, bro. Shawn Porter look killed. Shawn Porter is Evander Holyfield in the welterweight division. He bringing it to you. If you ain't ready, Shawn Porter gonna beat you. I don't care how old he is, how many fights. If you ain't ready, Shawn Porter gonna beat you.
Porter and Spence. The first question is, have you ever been in with any of those guys, sparring or anything like that?
No.
Have you gotten a chance to see any of them work in the gym?
100%, both of them.
So where you at on that fight?
Like I said, Errol Spence, Shawn Porter. That's my brother right there. That's my Christian brother. Errol Spence, that's my brother too. You know what I'm saying? I love them both. You know what I'm saying? I mean, everybody know I'm a sucker for a left-hander. You know what I'm saying? I love southpaw. I'm a southpaw myself, and anybody that's got the southpaw style that knows how to master it, and knows how to, the ins and out, I always roll with them, you know what I'm saying? So on this fight right here, I'm picking Errol Spence to beat Shawn Porter, but like I told him and I told everybody, this is not going to be an easy fight. I've never seen nobody walk in the ring and do anything to hurt or harm Shawn Porter, you know what I'm saying? I mean, he's a very tough fighter. So, you know what I'm saying, to see Earl, beat him and walk through him, that would be something great to see.
Do you think it goes the distance, or?
I don't know. I mean, Shawn Porter's tough. Shawn Porter's tough. I'm not going to say that, Earl's going to knock him out. You know what I'm saying? I can't say that. I think Earl's going to win, but Shawn is going to fight. One thing I tell everybody, don't ever think that Shawn Porter coming to lay down. That's not going to happen.
Spence and Porter. Who do you see winning that fight?
I see Spence taking it, but I'll be in the house right there watching the fight. But I see Spence. Spence is tough. He can't. Oh boy, Shawn Porter. He can't just rough him up like that. He can't, because Spence will be right there on the inside. Spence got the inside game himself.
But that's got to be Shawn's best bet, right? He can't stay on the outside.
It has to be. He's not a boxer. He's not a boxer.
Yeah.
Spence is too long, with the jab and everything. But that's why I don't see Shawn winning, because Spence ain't afraid to, mix it up in the inside either.
Any chance though that when Shawn, if he can get inside, maybe the bully getting some of his own medicine will rock Spence, or could
It's boxing. Of course that can happen.
Right.
But Shawn he's determined. That's one thing. He's gonna go and go and go. That's why he got that chance, to do that. He got more chance than anybody else probably, because he will go in. He won't hesitate about it.
So ultimately, you got Spence by decision, or can he stop the tough Shawn Porter?
I think he stops him, man.
Damn, Shawn's tough.
He is tough, but you can only take so many punches from a big man like Spence.
That can punch, yeah. With both hands.
And he got that body shots that break you down. It's not just the head shots.
What are your thoughts on the fight between Spence and Porter? I don't know. It's been released again.
It's been announced that it's been released, that it's been done. I had already heard it was pretty much gonna be the fight. This was a few weeks back, but I haven't heard anything from them themselves. But I'm pretty sure that's the fight. You know what? It's a good fight too. I think Spence wins, especially if Porter tries to box, and that's probably not the best. Porter, that's not the best style. I think he has a better chance if he puts pressure and goes on the inside. That's probably his best chance. And when he does that, Porter is dangerous. Porter is tough. He's very resilient, very durable, and throws a lot of punches, smothers you with punches, and he's on top of you. So that gives him a chance if he does that. If he can do that. If he stays on the outside, I think he's too small, too short for Spence. Spence height and reach will complicate things.
Yeah, I think I saw him. I saw Porter in person. And then Modest even told me he's much. It's crazy how TV makes you look so much bigger.
He's not a big guy, even though he's a welterweight, but he's not a big guy. So the height and reach that Spence has, I think, will complicate things if Shawn decides to stand on the outside, try to box. His best bet is to jump on the inside, get aggressive early, make it a rough, awkward fight, difficult fight like that. Smother the guy. I think that's the way he has a chance. But I mean, that's the kind of fight that the fans deserve to see. You know, two champions facing each other. You know, in their prime. You know, unifying their titles. You know, that's what fans keep asking for. Well, there it is.
What's your breakdown of Porter Spence?
At welterweight, I can't see nobody beating Spence. I just can't see nobody beating him. The only person that maybe can give him some type of trouble, I think, of course, he could always be wrong, is Terrence Crawford, but I still think he'll beat him too, just because of his size and stuff. I think Crawford's skill is better, but you know, as far as size-wise, I mean, Spence and punching power and stuff, like, I just always give it to Spence. But as far as him and Porter, I mean, I think it'll be a real good fight, definitely.
I just gotta ask about the big fight at the end of the month, Spence and Porter, because you know Spence so well. Does he win that fight against Shawn Porter?
I think Spence does win that fight. But Shawn Porter's tough, and he has a very good chance to win the fight. I think any top welterweight in the world, Shawn Porter is a very, very tough out. And you know, depending on the game plan, him and Kenny Porter always have great game plans. But I just see Spence being strong, long, you know, digging with those body shots. I see a close, tough fight.
Let's say Shawn tries to do what Fury did in the second half of this fight. Just take it right to him, get inside. How do you think that plays out?
I mean, that's how Shawn's probably going to fight. He's probably going to come right at him. He has been boxing more. We've seen him do that in other fights as well. But I feel like he's going to have to come right at Spence. You know, the southpaw stance, the length, the strength, the power, you know, the physical size of Spence. I think he's going to have to get in the inside of work.
And just to close on that whole saga, what's something about Spence that's underrated? I know people saw his boxing.
Yeah, his boxing, his ability to change speed in his boxing ability. He's very technical. Which people don't think. They see him bullying guys, they see him big, strong. But he's got a lot of good talent, a good boxing skill, boxing talent.
Errol Spence and Shawn Porter. You're a purist. This is something where a lot of fight fans can actually benefit and learn from you. And what we can at least expect if you don't have a winner, and if you do, if you can just clarify.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Shawn Porter fought bigger weights, bigger guys, as far as in amateurs, than Errol. You know, he's used to fighting big guys, you know what I'm saying? So he's not discouraged by, you know, the size or the height or anything like that. He fought at 165 as an amateur, you know, and he's had hundreds and hundreds of fights at that weight. So, you know, he's fought. I think he's been sparring Benavidez, you know, for this camp. So being the smaller guy is nothing new to him, you know what I'm saying? Now Errol is just, you know, he's the truth, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. He comes to win, and he puts a lot of pressure on you. He has a lot of boxing IQ. You know, he has a tremendous will, you know what I'm saying? They put that truth on him, so, you know, that's not gonna be something easy to break, you know what I'm saying? The winner, I think the fans win that night. I think the fans win that night. I think this is an awesome fight for the fans, and I think we're just gonna see a great fight for history. You know, I think Shawn is gonna make it a rough and tough, maybe ugly, you know, fight. And when it tends to get like that, it gets a little closer because that's more of Shawn's, you know, realm, more of his area. But, you know, then we'll see, you know, that's also Errol. The cleaner it looks, I think it might go in Earl's favor. So, you know, you never know. You know, this is like we're playing with inches here, you know what I'm saying? So this is a great fight.
Spence Porter fight coming up next month.
I think that's going to be a good fight. Spence is a strong fighter. You know, Porter's tough. You know, can he get around Spence being big and a good puncher? But can Spence handle Porter pressure? So it all depends. We got to see what it is. But once they start fighting each other like that, the best start fighting each other, they get turns Crawford in there, you know, they get all them kind of fights, then you going to see, then the elite will come up. You know, that's when that elite fighter will hold it. But right now, you get one fighter fight one person, one fighter fight him. Nobody really getting in that mix right now. Everybody like a true pound for pound champion, I think, was Andre Ward. But they did that
Super Six.
Super Six, and they did it, and he fought everybody. I take my head off Andre Ward always. He had skill, and he had the heart to go in there and fight anybody. A lot of fighters won't do that. They want to pick and choose who they fight and when they fight. So it is.
This Spence, can you appreciate like he's a southpaw like you? We got the fundamentals down.
I like Spence, man. When I see him fight for me, I said I like him. I told them, I said, but that's gonna be a tough fight. I love that. That's gonna be a good fight. That should be one of the fights the fans want to see. And both y'all got the titles, and y'all trying to get the fight.
Spence and Porter. Do you have any thoughts on that fight?
Oh, Spence, oh man, I like the way that he throws his punches and mixes it up here to the body. But Porter's a good fighter as well. So it's gonna be. What do you think?
I don't want to. I want to know what the heavyweight thinks.
For me, if I had to pick someone, I'll pick Spence.
Is he too technically good for Porter?
Technical. Pardon?
Is it that he's too technically good for Porter? What is it?
Technical and throws a lot of punches. Throws at Porter, but just throws and mixes it up, and he's very good with his range. So they're both entertaining fighters, and they're both fighters that give it everything.
One thing I know about facing tall fighters in the heavyweight division is, how, because Porter, I imagine, is going to have to get inside those. How hard is that?
Listen, if the fighter, if the taller fighter uses his range well and boxes off the back foot and controls the distance, it's a little bit harder for the shorter fighter. But I'm sure that they have a game plan going into the fight that they're going to use, and I'm sure they're going to get in an exchange, and it's going to be very interesting.
But ultimately,
I think Spence will get the better of Porter. We shall see.
Who do I think is going to win, Porter versus Spence? I think Spence is going to win, but I've counted Porter out, and he always surprises me.
Shawn Porter, Errol Spence coming up. The unification in the welterweight division. Do you guys have a pick, or how that fight will break down at least?
I picked this fight on Fight Hype already.
I think it's gonna be an interesting fight, but I definitely favor Errol. I see Shawn Porter sparring with Andrade, so I think that's probably the best work you could possibly get. But I just think, and I look at when I cross-reference both of their fights with Kell Brook. Every time I do it, I come out with Earl winning this fight.
And is it because of what? Is it his IQ?
I just think it's his power, his IQ, his southpaw stance. He showed that he can box in the Mickey Garcia fight. He showed defense. I mean, he just impressed me a lot without the knockout. So.
Does that matter? Because there's fight fans that are pretty critical, seeing that the smaller guy came up and he was essentially known as the knockout artist, and then he didn't knock out the smaller guy. Does that play in any type of?
Sometimes smaller guys are harder to knock out than bigger guys. Cause they got a faster pace.
Okay.
So the same smaller guy was coming out hurting everybody else he fought and beating everybody else. So you can't all of a sudden just classify him as this smaller guy that can't fight. This guy can fight, and was a real threat. And every time he came up, he showed his power and he showed his true grit. Now that Errol just outboxed him, and I thought it was a thorough boxing lesson. Defense was on point like a decimal, and he won the fight easy. Now everybody crying about, well, he knocked him out. I actually don't think he really went for the knockout. Now, had I seen him going in, really going hard, looking for the knockout and couldn't get it, I might be questioning. But I didn't see that.
With Shawn and Errol, do you think there will be a knockout in this fight because of the style, or just tough 12 rounds?
I don't think it's going to be a knockout, but I still think Errol will win the decision.
You're making faces over there.
Oh.
Do you disagree with that?
No, I mean, I think this fight is is a bomb burner, like I said, you know, from the beginning. I don't know about the knockout, man. The knockout is gonna be tough to get, but
Shawn is up.
Yeah, Shawn is definitely. Listen, Shawn Porter can box, and I don't know if people know that. People just think he just this mauling, come in and
Shawn was a middleweight and amateur.
Right. He
Super middleweight.
He definitely can box. So I think people are expecting to see a fight where it's just gonna be like, you know, two titans clashing. But you know, look for a chess match. There's gonna be a chess match in there. Look for both of them dudes are capable of one big shot. I never boxed Errol before, but I boxed Shawn, and I know Shawn for a welterweight. What? Like, yeah, you can't just let these dudes just hit you. So I know, you know, in any fight in boxing, it can be over in one shot. So you do got to be careful as far as that part for a knockout. But as far as like a all out, like just somebody come in and just knock the other one out, I don't think that's gonna happen. I think that we about to see a great chess match, and you know, the superior mind will prevail.
How does Shawn win this fight? And what would he need to do? Would it be his footwork? Would it have to be using the jab?
His work rate.
Yeah, he would have to outwork Earl.
He got to press him, smother him, press him, and stay on him like a tattoo. He got to get on him like a tattoo. Period. If he give Earl any room and let Earl control the distance, he lose.
How do you predict ultimately that the Spence Porter card is going to play out?
I don't know. Hopefully a knockout. I want to see a knockout. You know what I mean? Could be a knockout. It could either be Porter catching Spence with a big overhand right, because he likes to throw those on the Porter likes to throw those on the ropes. Somebody's on the ropes, or it could be Spence. You know,
oh yeah, you sparred with Porter. I forgot about that.
Or it could be Spence hitting Porter with a body shot. You don't know. You know what I mean? That's why they fight. You know, it's up to the fighters to figure it out. It's not gonna be an easy fight. I sparred Porter, but you know, I'm just a completely different fighter from Errol Spence.
100%.
So you know, I can't judge what we did, what I've seen in sparring from what Spence might do, because I don't think like Spence, and I don't fight anything.
You guys don't move, for sure. No, not the same style. I get it. I know what you're saying.
So, it's two completely different fighters, and plus I'm way bigger than Shawn Porter. So you know, I don't know what Spence's game plan is. I don't know if he's gonna apply pressure, or if he's gonna box, or he's gonna do a little bit of both. And I don't know what Shawn Porter's gonna do to Errol Spence. You know, so you just have to wait and see what type of fight it turns out.
Shawn Porter versus Errol Spence. How do you see that fight going?
It's a great fight. It's a fight that I lean a little bit toward Earl, because I like both guys. I truly like both guys. I think they're both great people. And I think that Shawn has to do a little bit boxing and a lot of the old Shawn Porter. If the old Shawn Porter don't show up, he has no chance at all. He's not going to outbox Errol Spence. Errol Spence is too big. But if he, you know, does like, you know, the Shawn Porter that we all come to know, he has a good chance, because I mean, you know, he's going to be a dog in there, you know, and I mean, but like I said, he has to balance it. He has to box, and he has to beat the old Shawn Porter, because if he's too aggressive, he has a chance to be knocked out. You know, he can walk into something.
When you say the old Shawn Porter, what does that mean stylistically? When you say
Stylistically is where Shawn is a guy who overwhelms you, you know, with his attack. And, you know, with Usyk, you know, he was Michael Nunn. And that fight didn't look good at all. You know, he still, you know, he edged it out, but still, that's not his fight. You know, but like I said, but with Errol Spence, I think he's gonna need a little bit of that, and a lot of the old shot.
Versus Spence.
If they were to fight Porter and Spence, you know, as much as I love Shawn Porter, he's my dude, he's my guy, we work together. I mean, you're talking about just the height itself. We had Errol Spence on the show last weekend as a guest, and you could see the height difference. I mean, Mikey Garcia is taller than
than Shawn Porter. Shawn
No,
Porter,
he's not. Are you serious?
Yes, Shawn Porter is maybe a little bit taller than me. Shawn Porter is small for his weight class, tiny. And I think just the weight, I mean, the height advantage is going to be
I've seen him in person. But I always see him where he's up a level.
Boy, that explains. Why is he so tall? He's
No,
over
I
there.
kid you not. Like,
Yeah.
did you know that? Well, I'm.
Yeah, well, I work with him. That's what I'm telling you.
Obviously,
Like,
I know you work with him, but I mean prior to that.
yeah. Oh, I've
You
been
probably
knowing him
ran
for a
in
while.
with him,
Yeah, so
you knew, yeah. Wow, I had no idea because how tall are you?
I'm 5'5". So
5'5". Mikey's
Errol-
like 5'6".
No,
5'7"?
Mikey's a little bit taller, 5'7", around there.
Wow.
5'8".
So then that puts Porter probably like 5'6", then, right?
Around there, 5'6" and a half.
Welterweight unification. Haven't seen that for a while since I think Danny and Keith. How do you see that fight playing out?
Well, let me tell you, like Shawn Porter, did he take a defeat in his career?
Yes, 2.
2 of them. Very quality, good fighter. Have we seen Errol Spence take a defeat in his career?
Not professional.
Okay, but we could say one young guy was on a fast track and wasn't slowing down. Some people would like to see, take your time, you don't have to, he was looking to take big fights right away. I seen him at Olympic Training Center when Marcus Brown, Errol Spence, all those guys, Rashid Warren, all of them, I got to see them firsthand, and I seen their work ethic. So what I realized, you need to go grab what you want. My singles. Damn.
Hey, the gray and blue right there. That's right, guys. How you doing? Ron?
So back to what I said, Errol Spence was one of those guys when you're a young guy fighting with that much confidence and so much durability, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to watch and sit down and watch his story pan out the way it is, because I think he's more the person that's in control of his own story, because his confidence is giving that off, you know what I'm saying? So until I see him take some type of defeat, I'm not going to be able to say anything bad about him because of him with his storyline and where he's fighting from and how he's rise to the top of the division in such a short time that, you got to give a guy like that credit.
So a pick? Or are you still on the fence on that one?
I know. I would say my sight will be on Errol Spence, but like Shawn Porter is a personal friend. That don't mean nothing. That's thrown outside the window. But I think still, you know what I'm saying, when a guy still have taken the defeat, that I'm gonna still go with the guy that's undefeated. It's just like, for me, it's almost like common sense to pick the guy that's undefeated, especially with his resume, especially with the storyline, especially how fast he moves and that. You can't take away his story from him.
Sorry, they just announced Shawn Porter against Errol Spence Jr. How do you see that fight playing out?
¿Cómo piensas de esta pelea de Shawn Porter y Errol Spence?
No, es una buena pelea porque le están dando poca oportunidad. Pienso que tiene mucha oportunidad. Es un guerrero, un tremendo peleador con una gran historia. Y pienso que van a hacer una gran pelea ellos dos.
He said, yeah, it's a good fight. They just announced that fight. He beat him to get that fight. So he thought that it was a really good fight himself. And that he thinks it'll be a great fight that night.
Errol Spence, Shawn Porter, how do you see that fight playing out?
I think Spence is gonna beat him. Not easy, of course, but as someone watching it from the outside, I believe that he's gonna beat him. If it goes to decision, it's probably gonna be a 8-4 to Spence. If Spence knocks him out, I'd say 8th, 9th round.
Spence, the bigger, taller, stronger guy. Do you think he'll box smart, or do you think he'll go after him?
You know what? Spence tends to bring out. Porter tends to bring out the ugly out of other fighters because he really does like to brawl. He likes to go in there and slug it out. Errol, he might try to keep his distance, but he's probably gonna want to prove that he can go in there too.
Honestly, if you want to, if I typically bet, the bet goes in favor of Spence. This fight depends on what Porter does. Spence comes to fight. One thing I like about Spence, and listen, he showed me that he has discipline, because he could, to me, he should have knocked Garcia out, but his trainer said, listen, we're going to box this guy and beat him, and guess what? He stuck to the fight plan. And he did what he had to do. It wasn't the prettiest fight, but he showed discipline, and he showed that he can box the way that he needs to beat this guy. And that says a lot for him, because he believes in what his trainer tells him, and he listens, and that shows discipline. So for this fight here, I think it depends on what Porter does, how he fights him, because Spence is coming. Spence can box and he can punch. Hell of a puncher. And push come to shove, he has that power that he can rely on. And Porter has been dropped and he's been hit with some good shots. So it depends on what kind of fight Porter fights. What does he bring to the table? Does he box him? Does he be aggressive and try to go towards him? And either way, it's tough because Spence can fight, and you had to give him the utmost respect as a fighter. And you can't come from the bell ring. You can't get that kind of respect, but you got to know that this guy is dangerous. So it all depends on what Porter does, what kind of fight game plan his father comes up with, and can he follow it, and can he break Spence down? Here's the thing. I'm gonna tell you how I would do it if I was champion. Here's the one thing we're gonna do. We're gonna put it in the contract. You have to weigh in 12 noon day of the fight. That's gonna help me out a whole lot. Because you can't come in the next day weighing 180, whatever you weigh. You're gonna come in that day weighing probably at the most 156. That's all I want from it. I said, listen, we're gonna make this fight. You're gonna come in the day of the fight weighing 12 noon. If you're a true welterweight, you have no problem with it. Because you have to worry about trying to rehydrate. If you're not a true welterweight, you're gonna bitch about that and say, oh man, well you talk crazy. No. If you're a true welterweight, you're weighing noon day of the fight and then fight me that night.
Errol Spence is gonna fight Shawn Porter leading up. A lot of people say that's also a 50-50 fight. Do you have anyone that you're leaning towards? And if not, how would the fight go?
I don't gamble or bet, but if I had to bet my own personal money, I would bet on Errol.
Is there a particular reason why on Errol?
I think he has the physical strength to deal with the bull rushes of Shawn Porter, who's also physically strong. I fought Errol in the amateurs and I boxed Shawn a few times in the gym, and both of them are physically strong. But I think Errol could deal with the physical strength of Shawn Porter. It's gonna be a good fight though, because Shawn's a good fighter. But when he has somebody that's physically strong like he has troubles. Just like Ugas gave him trouble because Ugas is physically strong. So I think if you're not physically strong, he's going to run over you. If you are, then you can give him some trouble. And I think Errol Spence is physically strong, and he has really good fundamentals. I think it's going to be a great fight, though. Very exciting.
Errol Spence and Shawn Porter fight next month. Who's going to win that fight?
Thank you.
Errol Spence and Shawn Porter?
Mayweather, I'll call you. Mayweather. I think... See, I was trying to tell you, I don't even know these fighters that good
Spence
no
is the
more.
one that he sparred with Floyd when he fought Manny. He's a real big welterweight. The lefty from Texas.
Well, he should be all right then.
Shawn Porter, Errol Spence. How do you see that?
I think that's an even matchup. I think that's even. I think it's an even matchup. After I seen Spence's last fight, he did good, but I thought he was gonna knock Mikey out. I just feel like he did his thing, but he didn't look dominant. Even though he won all the rounds, but he didn't look like how he looked against Peterson.
Did you learn anything in that Errol Spence-Mikey Garcia fight? Because a lot of people, like yourself, just said, well, I was expecting a knockout, but a lot of people, for example, myself, I thought that he proved he could box very well, and we haven't seen him do that. Not because he couldn't, but maybe because he didn't have to in other fights. But I feel like he outboxed Mike Garcia.
Yeah, he definitely outboxed him. He outboxed him. He outworked him. He did everything he was supposed to do to win. But since he fought a guy who was 2 weight classes smaller, even though Mikey's a good fighter and never lost before, you just expect certain things. Especially, you just destroyed Peterson, you know?
Right.
Now, if you did that to him, it's like, oh. But it was like, okay, it's like you see something here that you could work with. It's not really what people are saying, you know what I mean? So to me as a fighter.
Right, so based off that experience, you would say the Errol Spence and Shawn Porter fight is 50-50 in your eyes?
I would give, I think it's a 50-50 fight, but I would give Spence the slight favor just because he's fresher.
Yeah.
You know, Porter's been around, like we've been around, like we've been fighting each other, like so Spence is a little bit, but like I said before, I'll get Spence an edge, but Both of them throw a lot of punches. Both of them are physically strong. Spence is just he hits harder. That's it. But I think style-wise, I think it's gonna be a good fight. I think it's gonna be.
You brought up Errol's last performance, but Shawn's last performance was also. There was a lot of questions that came out of that. A lot of people felt that Ugas actually won the fight, a big majority. What do you take from that fight? Did you happen to catch that fight first?
Yeah, I watched it.
And what'd you make of that performance of Shawn Porter and Yordenis Ugas?
I thought it was a close fight, but I thought he won.
You thought Shawn won?
Yeah, I thought Porter won. I thought Porter won by. It could have went either way, but I thought he won.
Spence Porter later this month. Who's gonna win that fight?
Shit, man. I really don't know. Everybody say that Spence gonna win, but Porter's a dog in there, man. He's a dog.
It's like you're saying though. Everyone seems to be favoring Spence with that.
But hey, Porter, he'll upset you. He'll upset some good fighters, and he hasn't lost some close fights. So we're gonna see what Porter gonna bring to the ring. Which Porter, because he got two different styles. He try to box you, then he got that come forward style.
Which one do you think he should come with?
He better take that fucking fight to Spence. He better try to push his cap back.
Because sometimes is it true that you're fighting a great boxer like Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, you're better off trying to just go be physical with him? I mean, you could walk into some shots, but are you better off sometimes fighting like a Shawn Porter, being physical, getting inside instead of trying to do what they do, box with them? Or?
Well, it all depends on the type of fighter that you're fighting. Because you can get a fighter in there like Terrence Crawford, you try to take the fight to him, he gonna outbox your ass or probably hurt you, or then, you trying to fight me? Oh, I'm gonna fight your ass back. You know what I'm saying? So it all depends on the fighter.
Do you see Spence as having not just really good but great type skills when you watch him, or like on the level of your man and Lomachenko?
I see Spence as average fighter that's really strong. I really do.
Fundamentally sound?
He's fundamentally sound.
Yeah.
Nice jab, nice right hand, good footwork, keep his hands high. But that's just one-on-one boxing. That's what you learn when you're a young kid. And all that, the foundation is underneath him. As far as being special, I don't see nothing special about him.
He throws about 75, 80 punches too per round. Doesn't get tired through the 12. The punch with both hands. I'm just trying to.
Yeah, you putting it all out there and shit, but I mean, he can do all that to all the fighters that he's fought.
Right.
But what if you get somebody in there that could just box right along with him? More versatile, got a little bit more something to his game. Then what he gonna do?
The big fight at the end of this month of your division, Spence Porter. Who do you look to win that fight?
Oh man, it's gonna be a good fight. Like I always tell everybody, we can't count Porter out. Porter's a hungry, determined fighter, and I didn't see him prove the doubters wrong many times before. And Spence, a good, strong fighter with great skill, great talent, and they got history of sparring each other, so they're gonna know what each other is, want to bring to the table come fight night. But at the same time, this ain't amateurs anymore. This is professional. And may the best man win.
And people, they kind of underrate Shawn's skills a little bit.
Of course. But you can't take nothing away from him. He was a two-time world champion. He's did everything he had to do. A lot of people say he's a dirty fighter, but things happen in the ring, and at the end of the day, it's a fight. And nobody say, we was about to be playing pancake. It's a fight at the end of the day, and so we gonna headbutt. Sometimes you might elbow somebody. But at the end of the day, it's a fight.
Is that sometimes what's going to give a great fighter, a great boxer problems more than someone trying to box and be technical with him? Is a guy just trying to rough you up and be physical? Is that?
Well, it depends on the fighter. Some fighters get bothered by things like that. Some fighters don't. So again, it depends on the fighter and who he's fighting against.
Could you give me a little breakdown of what you think will happen at the show here with Spence Porter, and then of course we have
I think Porter's going to give
Benavidez.
a much better fight than people expect. I think Shawn Porter's going to give a much better fight. I think it's going to be a close fight. I do. I feel that Spence should probably edge and win the fight. But if Porter puts on the pressure that he normally does, I think he would do very, very well and make it a very difficult fight for Spence. If Porter gets on the inside and fights hard on the inside, like he normally does, with a lot of pressure, a lot of volume and punches, I think he could do much better than people anticipate. I still feel that Spence should probably take it, but this should be a good fight.
Porter has to do to make this a fight against Errol Spence?
He got to be the best Shawn Porter, man. He got to. Shawn is aggressive. Shawn can box, but Shawn is aggressive. Shawn gets in tip-top shape, and his dad winds him up and he lets him go. So Shawn just has to be the best Shawn. You know, he got to try to take Errol in the deep water because Errol is a big 47. So I don't know if he struggles to make weight, but he gains a lot of weight in between. Real quick. He gains a lot of weight in between fights. That's not good for any fighter. I just think Errol's a big kid, so Shawn has to get in tip-top shape like he typically does, and he got to go, but he got to keep his defense tight. And Errol just got to keep being Errol. He got to keep doing what he's been doing.
Do you think that this is finally the fight that will show what type of fighter Errol Spence is, where he'll really get tested?
I mean, he's been tested. It's another step in that direction, yeah. You know, I mean, where's your palm? Yeah, it's a necessary fight. If he's trying to be the kingpin at 47, he got to start knocking off guys like Shawn Porter. It ain't gonna be easy. It's not gonna be easy for either guy. And I respect and rock with both guys.